Hi, this is Pirates broadcaster Greg Brown. It's time for the 2-minute timeout with Joe Czuba, and now extra innings.
After more than 30 years, Dave Czuba, owner of Dave's Sports Collectibles in Duncansville, Pennsylvania, still recalls a baseball card buying trip with the late Alan Mr. Mint Rosen.
We were doing the first annual baseball card show in Richmond, Virginia, and this was back in 1989. The day before, Al had gotten a phone call from a young man. He lived about 40 miles outside of Richmond. He said he was interested in selling his boyhood baseball card collection. And it turned out there was about 12,000 baseball cards from 1959 to 1965. So we went a day early. Back in those days, there was no GPS, there was no MapQuest, so we just had to write down directions. So as we're driving in the middle of nowhere, it was the weekend after 4th of July, Southern Virginia. It was about 105 degrees with 90% humidity. We finally get to this long lane, and I said, Al, I think this is it. Let's go down. So we're driving down this lane with corn growing, and we come across this little house, and there's chickens running around the yard, and we pull in, and a guy comes out, young guy. He greets us. He says, "Are you Mr. Mint?" "Yeah, that's us." "Well, come on in." So he invites us in his home. I had to use the restroom. I said, "Which way is the restroom?" He says, "Well, the outhouse is out back." So I had to go to the outhouse. We had to greet his mother, who was sitting in one room. Joe, it had to be 120 degrees in the house, no air conditioning. Then he takes us upstairs to his bedroom, and lo and behold, he had 12,000 nice cards. We analyzed the collection. We figured it was worth about $35,000. We offered the young fella $25,000. He says, "$25,000? Absolutely not." And we were stunned. $25,000 in cash was worth more than the house and everything else that we were in. Absolutely not. "Well, how much do you think you want to get?" "Not a penny less than $30,000. Well, we tried negotiating. 27, 28, 29. Ended up having to be $30,000. So we make the deal. Al's counting out the money. Now, the cards were in this old broken down dresser that he had all the cards lined up in number order by year, straight across. So there was about 8 rows in each dresser drawer. Meticulous. So Al says, "Well, why don't you take out one of the drawers while I'm counting out the money?" I said, "Okay." So I take out the dresser drawer, the first one, and the kid says, "Where are you going with that?" I says, "Well, I'm taking out the cards while Al's paying you." He says, "You can't have that." He said, "That's my favorite dresser. You're going to have to take all the cards out." Al said, "We're going to damage the cards. It's not going to work out good." And the kid says, "I don't care. That's my dresser. You can't take my drawers. There'll be no deal." And Al looks at me and I look at Al. Al says, "Look, guy, how about if I pay you $200 per drawer and let us have it? You could go buy yourself a new dresser." He said, "Okay, that's fine. Take the drawers." So the deal cost us an extra $400 just so we could have his broken down dresser drawers. And we drove away, sweat coming down, and actually we laughed all the way to Richmond after that one because you get to see everything that you never thought you'd see before. It was unbelievable, Joe.
That's your 2-minute timeout, extra innings. I'm Joe Czuba.